In 1869, in Brantford, New Hampshire, two brothers bury a chest and hope that no one ever finds it. A century later, in 1969, 12-year-old Alan Parrish escapes a group of bullies led by Billy Jessup and retreats to his father Sam's shoe factory. He meets his friend, Carl Bentley, who reveals a new shoe prototype he made by himself. Alan misplaces the shoe and damages a machine, but Carl takes responsibility and gets fired. After being beaten up by Jessup's group, who also steal his bicycle, Alan follows the sound of drumbeats to a construction site. He finds a chest containing a board game called Jumanji and brings it home. At home, after an argument with Sam about attending Cliffside, a boarding school for boys, Alan plans to run away. His best friend, Sarah Whittle, arrives to return his bicycle. Alan shows her Jumanji and invites her to play. With each roll of the dice, the game piece moves by itself and a cryptic message describing the roll's outcome appears in the crystal ball at the center of the board. Sarah reads the first message on the board and hears an eerie sound. Alan then unintentionally rolls the dice after being startled by the chiming clock. A message tells him to wait in a jungle until someone rolls a 5 or 8. Alan is sucked into the game and a swarm of bats chases Sarah out of the mansion. 26 years later, in 1995, after their parents died in an accident on a ski trip, siblings Judy and Peter Shepherd move into the vacant Parrish mansion with their Aunt Nora. Soon after, Judy and Peter find Jumanji in the attic and begin playing it. Their rolls release a swarm of big mosquitoes and a troop of monkeys. The game rules state that everything will be restored when the game ends, so they continue playing. Peter's next roll releases a lion and an adult Alan. As Alan makes his way out, he encounters Carl, who is now working as a police officer with Carl not knowing who Alan is. Alan, Judy, and Peter go to the now-closed shoe factory, where a derelict tells Alan that after his disappearance, Sam abandoned his business and searched for Alan until his death just 4 years earlier in 1991. Alan is devastated by the revelation, especially since he learns that his father loved him more than he ever realized. Realizing they need Sarah to finish the game, the three locate her, now suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder from Alan's disappearance, and they persuade her to join them. Sarah's roll releases fast-growing carnivorous plants, and Alan's next roll releases a big game hunter named Van Pelt. Judy's next roll releases a stampede of various animals, and a pelican steals the game. Peter retrieves it, but Alan is arrested by Carl. During that time, Peter cheats and starts transforming into a monkey. Later, Van Pelt catches up to Alan's friends and steals the game. Sarah, Judy, and Peter follow Van Pelt to a department store, where they fight him, retrieve the game, and reunite with Alan, who managed to hijack Carl's car after convincing Carl to release him, and Carl recognizing Alan. When the four return to the mansion, it is now completely overrun by jungle wildlife. They release and dodge numerous calamities until Van Pelt arrives and confronts Alan. When Alan drops the dice, he wins the game, which causes everything that happened as a result of the game to be reversed. Due to the fact that Alan and Sarah began the game in 1969, time reverses to the moment they started playing as children, leaving both with memories of everything that had occurred. Alan reconciles with his father and admits that he was responsible for the shoe that damaged the factory's machine. Carl is rehired, and Sam tells his son that he does not have to attend boarding school after he realizes that Alan would be much happier at home and with Sarah. Alan and Sarah throw Jumanji into a river and then share a kiss as they begin a romantic relationship. In an alternate 1995, Alan and Sarah are married and are expecting their first child. Alan runs the factory after Sam is retired, but he and his wife are still alive, while Carl is still working at the factory. He and Sarah reunite with Judy and Peter and meet their parents during a Christmas party. The Parrishes offer Jim a job and convince the Shepherds to cancel their upcoming ski trip, thereby preventing their deaths from the previous timeline. On a beach, two girls are seen speaking French and walking towards a partially buried Jumanji as drumbeats begin playing.